Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Steins Gate 0, Season 1, Episode 24. Today's a sad day.
It is a sad day.
This is, I think, the last bit of Steins Gate content we are going to be reacting to on the channel, from what I understand.
Ever.
Unless we touch the VN, right? So sad. I don't know. Last episode, it's interesting. It ended in a way, especially after the credits, that I could see that was it. I didn't expect there to be another episode, like, just based off of the content alone last episode. Traveling about 20,000 years into the past to 18,000 BC to find Mayuri and Suzuha and coming to get them. Beautiful. Perfection.
I mean, the music that was playing in multiple points of last episode, the whole episode just, like, spoke and yelled finale of Steins Gate 0. So I honestly have no clue what this next episode is supposed to be.
Nope. Maybe like a sort of OVA kind of thing like we had in the original Steins Gate series. I don't know what that would look like here, though. I'm not sure.
If we're like, I don't know.
I loved,
not even gonna guess.
One of my favorite bits of last episode was the idea that they've invented this Kerr black hole, like, tracker. I think it was Tracer, and that was the way that they were able to, like, track them and find them. That was so interesting.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, but what to expect? Do you have any guesses?
No, I can't even guess, honestly, because every time I try, I'm like, but we already got that OVA that shows us kind of this ideal ending where everyone's still alive.
Yeah.
So, are we just going to go back to that? Is there going to be something totally different that we would never have expected?
We could be seeing Mayuri and Suzuha arrive back, you know.
Okay, I wouldn't mind that.
That's what I'm leaning towards at the moment.
It has to be last episode, since this isn't an OVA and it's technically the last episode of Steins Gate 0. From what we understand. Oh, right. It doesn't seem like it's labeled. Aren't OVAs normally somewhere else? I
don't know. I feel like I've seen it both ways. I feel like sometimes it's in another category or a tab, or sometimes it's tacked on to the end of the season and they just say that it's the next episode.
Okay.
So it could be either.
We really don't have any clue.
I think we might be able to discern it after watching it, though.
That's fair.
We should probably do that.
Yeah.
We're yapping. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Okay. I can't look at Leskinen in the same cheeky way as I did before. This is not what I expected.
No, I'm really confused.
Valentine's Day? What an apt time for us to be watching this.
I know, we literally are watching it at the perfect time.
It almost feels like this is taking place halfway through Steins Gate 0. Are we watching this at the wrong time?
Probably a present for Mayuri.
Doesn't know what Valentine's Day is.
I'm sure in a world of war, people aren't just, like, going out and buying chocolate for people they love.
Aww. I think love is probably what the standout word is.
Not romantic love.
Yeah. Whoa.
本当にいないんですか？だからいないって言ってるじゃない。科学者にロマンは必要ないでしょ。科学者こそ真のロマンチストであるじゃないんですか？それ誰の言葉？私です。私に論文が乗ろうかってほどの天才少女。狙ってる男は山ほどいるわよ。
Honestly, never would have thought about that.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
紳士的にアプローチはかけられ5分も話すと大抵逃げていっちゃうんですよね。一度や二度論破されたくらいで情けない。あげて後悔する方がいいですから。もうぼーっとして。なんでもないわ。私は聞かせてもらったね。
Oh no. I bet she loves Valentine's Day.
あなた何を聞いていたの？こと一言も。天空の神本日の神を持つフェイリスには
It's her reading Steiner.
いやだから私は
Moeka?
Woke up a beast.
キリュウさん、あなたいつ
Didn't even know she was there.
This feels like we should have watched this when they had their sleepover. You know? Yeah? To who?
驚きですね。まさかキリュウさんにそんな相手がいるなんて。
Don't say FB.
あれ？違うよ、そっちじゃなくて。あれ？かがりに好きな人ね。あ、おかえりなさいお父さん。なえ、いい子にしてたか？
Does she like Mr. Braun?
遊んでもらってた。そっか、そりゃよかったな。店長まで。
Shizuha, you and I are in the same place right now.
What the fuck?
Am I Suzuha?
So before she even gets her phone.
Anything but that.
私未来の手作りの方がお客さん喜ぶんだ。もうお店のチョコオカリンさんにあげるでしょ。でもマユシ料理とかあんまりとこういうのはどうぞマユシを召し上がれ。なんてなんだかダルくんみたいなの。
Right?
Honestly, maybe that's Fubuki's dream.
Baking's a science, right?
だから何やってるんだ私は。いくらかがりが気になると言ったっていいのかにゃ。帰っちゃうと美味しいチョコが食べられなくよ。私は後からゆっ
I have a mission.
チョコはユージの美味しい手作りチョコをお店で配ればこの宣伝になるにゃ。
Jesus, Ferris.
She's just plotting. This is all a business maneuver.
Look at how stressed Maho is. Yes, you do.
Come
Yes! I
on.
relate to
An
Maho
actual
here.
scientist baking, of course they'd feel like they have to be extremely precise.
Oh my god.
Your microwave broke.
We're bad with microwaves.
Everyone is bad at cooking. We need Yuki. Oh, did you see the Upa?
Yay!
Both of
Yay!
them. I bet they're both amazing at this. This makes me so incredibly happy. He reads the lines out loud. Change of clothes! Change of clothes! Ruka gets a change of clothes! Yes!
I'm scared too, though.
I'm like Fubuki right now. This might be better than the Mayuri one that we saw earlier.
those look so good. Oh, Mr. Braun would be amazing at baking.
Cleaning! Cleaning!
Oh,
no!
My God. Aw.
Or so I believe.
Oh!
Wait! Is that when we see them at the table together?
Wow.
She's
Wow.
disappeared. Oh my God. She left them behind for everyone. She was late. She made it for them, but she was late. When she asks to see what room it was in?
That tore me apart. Oh, fuck. Okay, that was Steins Gate 0, episode 24. I feel as if we watched that at the wrong time. That being said, if I imagine where we should have watched it, probably after episode 13. I'm pretty sure episode 13, I'm almost positive episode 13 at the end is when Kaguri goes missing, which is what happens at the end of this episode. But it also takes place in the timeline where Maho knew where Kurisu died, which was shown to her specifically by Okabe in episode 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, the sleepover was in episode 10. And we get this funny little beginning to this episode where Moeka is still asleep in the room. And they're like, "You're still here?"
Yeah. Wow. I felt so dumb. Like, I was like, whoa, this is a weird world line.
Really, like, we started this episode and I was trying so hard. My brain was trying so hard. I bet there was, like, steam coming out of it. Trying to be like, okay, so what does this mean? Leskinen, Maho, Reyes. Does that mean that this is, like, us seeing what the past would have been like if Kaguri hadn't gone back because there was no world war? What that would have meant for their relationships and who they are. Are we trying to see an example of Moeka and Mr. Braun when CERN isn't our enemy anymore because we're not dealing with time machines?
But obviously, like, that's us in the moment thinking about it, trying to make sense of what's in front of us without acknowledging that those thoughts are illegitimate to begin with, if we break it down. But
especially with what the episode prior to this was.
Yeah.
There really was no perfect answer for me of what more of a finale you could have.
I agree with that completely.
So, like, I feel like we're both in a boat where we're like, okay, this probably is extra content that doesn't necessarily... It's either like the OVA of Steins Gate was, where it takes a bit of like, timeline-wise, it's a bit after the ending of Steins Gate, and it's kind of like an example of everything being right in the world.
Yeah.
And romance.
I'm trying, like... I think I'm happy that I waited until Steins Gate 0 was over to watch what we just watched. I'm trying to think how it would have felt right after the end of episode 13 if we watched it then.
Right. I think during watching it, maybe when we were watching the outro, getting ready for the after credit, you had brought up maybe like a 13.5.
Yeah.
They do that sometimes. But you're right to, like, is that really when you would want to have watched that?
I would have wanted to watch this episode. Okay, if I had a perfect world, I'd watch this. I'd watch the first, like, 80% of it. Everything but the after credit after episode 12. And then I would watch episode 13 and then watch this after credit after episode 13. Because, like, I wouldn't want it to be like, oh, shit, everything's like ramping up. Kaguri just went missing. Now I'm going to go back and see all this great time just to be shown that she's missing again.
But this was probably the better choice than splitting the episode up when you watched it. This was definitely the better choice. I think it faked me out a little bit because it did say 2024, and I was like, oh, okay, like, this must not be the finale, episode 23. There must be something more. Because I feel like for shows that I have watched on my own, a lot of the times the OVA is in a separate category on Crunchyroll. It's like in a separate place, or it's at least labeled OVA. So I was a little bit faked out, but not in a way where this was like a bad experience on my end. But I definitely went into it kind of trying to make sense of what I might be seeing.
I absolutely adored everything we got from Maho and Kurisu this episode. Kurisu's quote of, to be a scientist is to be a true romantic.
And it was her quote.
Yeah.
I also love the idea that so many men are suitors of hers, but then as soon as they have a conversation with her and she can, like, destroy them basically in an argument or a discussion, they lose complete, like, interest. They're like, yeah, she's hot and she's, like, impressive, but I couldn't stand dating her every single day.
Well, it's great to me because it's the same thing happened to Okabe, right? Him being like, okay, I'll get into an argument why your logic is flawed. He goes out of the building, like, crying, basically, because he got fucking swept by Kurisu, and then goes on to call her his assistant. You know, like, it's what Kurisu described, but why Okabe is the perfect person to fill that void.
Don't be intimidated by this smart woman. Be, like, so glad that she is into you.
Yeah.
Be entertained by how quickly she can think on her feet, the crazy theories she comes up with, the fun quotes she comes up with, but also, like, she can push you to be better. She unlocks things as Okabe's assistant, Christina. She unlocks things for him. She makes things possible. She opens up the world even more to him and makes his delusions almost become reality. And it is such a good experience for the two of them together. And he's not overly intimidated by her or disgusted by the fact that she would win in an argument. If anything, he goes back for more.
Yeah. Steins Gate Zero has more lewd than Steins Gate. I don't think I knew what to do with myself when we saw Eat Mayushi.
Every single breast in this episode was bigger than it was in the series. I'm just gonna say it now. Like, Suzuha's, everyone's, Kaguri's. There were shots where I was like, that is not true. That's not true.
I don't want to look at it. I don't feel like I'm
then
supposed to.
Then why'd you pull it up on the screen? He pulled up
Mayuri
on the screen.
But
are we putting this on the screen? Or people just know? People know. We are looking at Mayuri right now. You know because you watched the show, I'm guessing. So you know what we're looking at right now. We don't need to pull it up.
I can't believe that happened. Coupled with the line. I can't believe that happened.
The line killed me. Fubuki is so real for this. I appreciate her. I feel bad for her that she's so hurt by being compared to Daru. But she's kind of deserves it. She's an instigator. She's like, Nay, are you going to give chocolates to a boy at school? And Nay's just still, like, an innocent girl who just wants to hang out with the, like, older girls, her big sisters, and give chocolates to her dad that loves her so much. And I think that you shouldn't try to push her out of that innocence so soon.
Yeah. There were a lot of, like, very out there drawings this episode specifically. At the moment, I have one pulled up of Ferris, and, like, it's almost like it's from a different anime. Like, it's so bizarre to see, but I love it.
I think that the part that didn't occur to me when I was like, oh yeah, we're having this, we're all gonna bake together. I didn't go into this frame of mind where I was like, okay, but who can actually bake? Because if I had, I would have been like, this person probably sucks. This person probably doesn't know how to cook. Mayuri's already told us she is bad at cooking. We
you know
already
who
know
would be
that.
terrible at cooking? Kurisu. We've already seen her like inventions in Steins Gate in terms of food.
Food, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she'd be great at baking because it's more science and she's a little less frantic than Maho.
I feel like you could guess who would have been good here. I think we both knew as soon as like Yuki and Ruka showed up. We were like, yeah.
I loved Suzawa was like, nah, I'm out of this
I'm
bitch.
outta
And
here.
then it's like Fuki's coming or Yuki's coming very soon, and then it completely changed.
And then she was like, okay, I'll stay.
I want to talk about the Daru visual novel dating sim scene.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about that. I guarantee they're gonna taste good. Oh my
god.
In my headcanon, Daru has like gone into the files for the game and modded it in a way that there's no protagonist dialogue like at all, or no protagonist at all, so that he can fill that void.
So would he then have to rig it so that they would respond to his words?
No, it'd probably be the same thing. It because I mean, in a lot of like dating sims, not that I would know, it's like
I would.
You're given a situation where you have an option or a choice that is being made, and it's you could pick one still if Daru removed the dialogue from the protagonist, you know.
But if you're picking a choice, then how would the computer know that he made a choice that would make that character happy, therefore giving him a point?
It would imagine 3 choices here of
Okay.
dialogue, and Daru moves his mouse over one, clicks it, and then that person responds on if that decision preemptively would have made them happy. Like, do you want my chocolate Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday? The correct answer is Monday. Daru clicks Wednesday. That character's going to be like, oh, I was hoping you picked Monday. You know? That's how I perceive it happening.
That's how you perceive it happening. Okay.
Yeah.
In this line of thinking of dating sim, do you think the purpose of this episode, this is just a funny thought. I don't know for sure if Steins Gate Zero is just a visual novel or if it actually in fact is a dating sim, because I have not played it, but I want to, because I do like visual novel games and I do like dating sim games. So if it was both of those things, then I'd be incredibly happy and probably would love to play it. Do you see this? If Ferris is trying to make chocolates as an advertisement, as a seller for the cafe, then do you think that this episode, at the end of Steins Gate content, is a seller to, hey, you like Steins Gate? Try playing the game.
I mean...
romance, love. Look at all these cute girls and Ruka that you can romance. And
Mayushi.
And yeah, they're all hot. Don't you want them to make you chocolates in an actual dating sim? Look, Daru likes dating sims. Don't you
Aren't
like
you Daru?
Aren't you Daru? Aren't you viewer that's watching this show Daru? I think this is a giant advertisement for playing the visual novel.
I like the Miss Nay coming back into the equation of like the crazy cleaning.
It makes sense.
And then God, I love seeing Kaguri happy. Obviously, like based off of what her role was within the series, she was exactly that, you know, her role. But I love seeing characters like this in this universe just be able to have their own space to like of peace and happiness where they didn't have that before. Like in Steins Gate, it meant everything to me when Suzaha was able to talk on the roof with Okabe about how she wishes she could like stay here forever, you know?
I do really like her line at the end when she's talking about who she's going to be giving the chocolates to and that she enjoyed the day. She says, "I'm happier now than I've ever been, or so I believe." And I just really like that line because it's like, obviously, she doesn't know for sure that this is the happiest she's ever been because she's lacking memories. But if we actually think about her past, this very well could be one of the happiest moments she's had.
Yeah.
We know that as a child, she was so incredibly scared and was kind of, when she was taken in by Mayuri, her heart and her thoughts got so wrapped up in this person. This person she became dependent on this person and didn't probably live a very nice life in that war that time period of war with Mayuri being her mom probably wasn't that pleasant of a time. And then obviously we know she was being dropped off for old man Leskinen back in the future.
Yeah.
And now she comes back here. Obviously she doesn't have memory of it, but when she came back here, she was again back in Leskinen's hands. This probably really is one of the happiest moments in her life, and I really liked the line. I really liked the addition of "or so I believe."
It hurts more knowing what happened directly after this, you know?
Yes, I think that's why that line was so good in this episode, even more so. And the shocking nature of what happens at the end in terms of we weren't even expecting to have that kind of switch of like, oh, Kaguri wasn't able to give out the chocolates.
Yeah. Moeka giving chocolate to the butler is one of my favorite moments in this entire series. That was so out of left field and out of pocket, but I adore it.
If Steins Gate is in fact a dating sim, I think I would have a hard time not picking Moeka.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
she really like Moeka.
Killed Mayuri so many times in Steins Gate that...
Well, if you've ever played an Otome game, a lot of times the more interesting and well-written characters in those games are the ones that are a little bit messed up. Just a little bit messed up. They have some red flags, and if they were real people in the real world, you would stay so far away from them. You would never, ever, ever date them. But if it's a game and it's fiction and it's imaginary, then yeah, it's more fun that way.
All right, that's all I have. I'm gonna miss the series, man.
Well, you don't have to miss it too hard, because
the VNs.
You still have an Amadeus in your house.
Oh, that's true. We were gifted a Roomba for Christmas, and we finally got around to setting it up. And when it asked for a name,
we were like, what do we name it?
Amadeus.
Amadeus.
Yep.
Our Roomba's name is Amadeus. So Steins Gate will always be in our hearts and cleaning our house.
Yeah, but like the idea of just like new content or like revisiting content, right? I would like to watch through like the dub or like the sub again with you in our free time 100 times, or like play the VN if it ends up apparently being like as good as it would have to be to produce an anime, right? I'm feel like I will continue to come back to this universe again and again and again forever.
I would miss it so incredibly much if I wasn't able to have more content. I definitely love standalone. Like, I wouldn't want to touch this. Honestly, if they were ever like, we're going to remake Steins Gate, like reanimate it, it's all going to look more, maybe what the current or more modern, like, drawing 2D style of anime is.
No, thank you.
I'd be like, no, thank you, please don't. Because unless you're going to hire back all of the voice actors who did their original roles, but honestly, I wouldn't want to see it in a different art style. I wouldn't want to see it in a more like what anime nowadays like.
Do you think
like.
How do you think Steins Gate would be received if it released right now?
That's a good question.
Like, I'm trying to think of like other comparable shows that have released at all recently, and I'm having a lot of trouble thinking about it. Even in like structure, there aren't many shows that I've watched, at least, or anime that I've watched that have like a start and end, you know, that are just like a 24 episode series, or like I'm thinking like Arcane, right? No, there's a season 2 coming. Mob Psycho, there's 3 seasons, contained story, and that might be comparable in a sense, but that's way more like a lot of people who like action anime can find something in Mob Psycho. But within Steins Gate, I'm trying to think of like Death Note's a great example, but that obviously came out a while ago. How would it be received now?
It's possible that some of the jokes or some of the things that are very of the time that it was written might not like hit as well. Like,
I think they would be changed, right?
I think some of them would be changed. There's certain scenes I can think of specifically that I feel like might not have the same, like, the best reception now in compared to when this came out. But also just more on a reference level, like of a like current cultural society reference. Like, if you think to Jujutsu Kaisen, when I watched it and you hear that Itadori likes Jennifer Lawrence, I imagined to myself, well, there was a time, like a peak time for Jennifer Lawrence where she was hugely popular. I mean, she's still a popular actress, but she was huge at the point that I was imagining.
Games. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, if I had watched this at the time it was written, I bet that would have been even funnier.
Yeah.
So more of like that kind of situation is what I would imagine for if it were to be made today.
I feel like the only way I'd have a better gauge of being able to guess at how people would receive it is if I knew people in real life or online. If I've talked to anybody besides you about their interpretation of Steins Gate and if they enjoyed it. Because to me, I have very few anime or shows that I've watched that I would ever consider giving a 10 out of 10, but Steins Gate's one of them for me. And
we are only two people. We are only two opinions.
Yeah.
And we both like Steins Gate whole lot.
I love it so much. And I think that the reason I'm able to give it a 10 out of 10, in my own opinion, is because it's complete. I think that I feel uncomfortable trying to give something or even a season of something a 10 out of 10. I think it needs to be like a completed work for me to be able to judge it, you know?
I would completely agree with that. There are certain shows that kind of surpass that barrier I have where I feel uncomfortable saying that a show is my favorite when it's not completed yet, because you don't know. What if something controversial or really like upsetting or really bad writing happens later on in the series? Can you really compliment the whole series as a whole and say it's your favorite? No, you'd have to say season 1 was really good.
Ooh, here's a comparable setup. Not obviously way different story, but like Cyberpunk, that was its own contained story. It was half the episode Steins Gate was, but that was received very well. I don't know. I think that it's probably not the episodic nature that people would have trouble or love, but more like the content of it. And I just love I love every second of Steins Gate, so I'm a little bit sad right now, and I'm prolonging the discussion because of it.
Well, we've already pointed out two things we'd like to visit in regards to Steins Gate, other than this being a show that we'll probably rewatch at some point in our lives, just as it is in the sub. But we would like to see the dub. I would like to hear how certain characters are, the voice acting. Hyoin Kiyoma, would love to hear that. Also the game.
Yeah.
The novel, visual novel. So we don't have to completely leave the world yet.
I know.
But for now, right this second, we have to leave.
Where are we going?
To another world and universe. For another show.
Sounds like quite a trip. All right, you good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.